Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat. Today, I would like to do a tag for Tag Tuesday, and this is a brand new tag. Yesterday, Fred over at ReadbyFred was recommending this new tag that was created by the library mouse at TheLibraryMouseGina. This is a new tag that she created, and she's just inviting anybody on BookTube to do the tag. And so I'm taking her and taking Fred up on this invitation. So this is called Off the Top of Your Head. And basically, there are 10 questions, and you're just supposed to say the first thing that's off the top of your head. So that's what I did. But I wrote down my answers. I did the first thing that came to my mind, and I just jotted down my answers so that I could bring a couple of books or props to show you. So here were my answers off the top of my head. So the first question was, what was your favorite picture book as a child? And the first thing that came to my mind was the very first book that I ever took out of the public library when I was, I think, 5, well, maybe 6. I don't know how old you have to be to get your first library card, but I was very little. And it was Ezra Jack Keats' The Snowy Day. I loved that book. I still love that book. And I had a really neat thing happen. I was teaching a writing class several years ago, and the prompt that we were working on had something to do with favorite books from childhood. And this wonderful student of mine, who is now herself a children's book author, wrote the most beautiful essay about her love of Ezra Jack Keats' The Snowy Day, and how that just opened up a world of books for her, and introduced her to reading. And so we had that in common. And so when she graduated at the end of that year, she gave me a gift, and it's a picture from the snowy day. I'm going to get it so that you can see it without the glare. So I guess she bought the book and anyway framed for me a picture from it. And you can actually see a line from the book down here, which was one of her favorite lines. Crunch, 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 his feet sank into the snow. So I just cherish this. This is something that I keep on the wall in my office upstairs. So that was an easy one. That came right off the top of my head. So the second question is, what series did you love as a child? And again, that also comes right to the tip of my tongue. The first series that I ever remember reading was the Bobbsey twins when I was, really little. And I still have some of those sort of stored away, but I have some of my original Bobbsey twins. And then when I was a little bit older, I loved Encyclopedia Brown. I loved how smart he was and how he helped everybody solve mysteries, and I just loved him. And then when I was a little bit older, and I think this was all in my newbie tag as well, Nancy Drew. I read my way through Nancy Drew, and I read my way through the Hardy Boys as well, because my brothers had all of those. Okay. The third question, I could not think of anything off the top of my head. The question was, what is the worst book you have read or tried to read? And I couldn't think of anything. The only thing I could come up with was, maybe I couldn't, maybe a textbook that I struggled with. I don't know that I read it, maybe my calculus textbook. I mean, I remember having a real struggle with that and hated to carry the thing home and but I don't know that you read a calculus textbook. I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of a novel. I couldn't think of a play that that was the worst book that I ever tried to read. So I'm sorry, I failed on this question. The fourth question is your favorite reading or book memory. that also, this comes right to the top of, right off the top of my head. When I was a little girl, my oldest brother was reading To Kill a Mockingbird in high school, and I had to be in like fourth grade maybe, and the movie was being televised that particular weekend. I think it was on a Sunday night, and he was supposed to watch it for school. I mean, this is long before there were, VCRs and DVD players and all of that. So I guess his assignment as he was reading the novel was to watch the movie because it was going to be on television. And so we watched it as a family, all of my brothers and my parents, we all watched it together, and I fell in love with this story. And so I then discovered on my parents' bookshelf, there, I believe this is a first edition of Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. And my mother has signed, both of my parents' names in the inside cover, but it seems to be a first edition. It just says copyright 1960, and there's nothing else. So it's not, I don't think it's a second edition. I think this was the original publication. So I discovered this on my parents' shelves. And every day I couldn't wait to get home from school, and I have this vivid memory of curling up in this big, stuffed, oversized chair in my father's den and reading this book every day after school. Even though it was, way before this was going to be assigned to me. I mean, my oldest brother was reading it for school, but I couldn't get home fast enough to get to that book and to read. And then when I read it with a class, by the time I got to high school and it was assigned to me, I already knew the story. I had read the book. I had seen the movie. But now I was studying it with a class and analyzing it, and I fell in love all over again. And I distinctly remember early in high school thinking that this is what I want to do with my life, that I want to study literature. And I think I always knew I was going to be a teacher, but it was that book that and that combination of memories around that book that really had a profound effect on the rest of my life. Okay, so that was question number 4. Question number 5 is a book you loved as a movie. And I had 2 for that right off the top of my head. And the first is what I was just speaking about, To Kill a Mockingbird. That's one of the few examples where I think that the movie is as beautiful as the novel. I think that's a perfect movie, and I'm still in love with the novel. I know people are taking issue with the novel now. It's just has too profound a place in my heart and in my life. It will always be important to me. And the other one is Stephen King's The Green Mile, which was originally written in installments as 6 small books. But I didn't read it that way. I read it all together as a complete novel, and I think the movie is also a beautiful, powerful movie. And those are the only 2 I could think of where I think that the movie does justice to the book. Number 6, a book you wish they would make into a movie. Right off the top of my head, several recent reads came to mind. I would like to see Ann Patchett's Tom Lake made into a movie. I would like to see James McBride's The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store made into a movie. And I would like to see Liz Moore's The Long Bright River made into a movie. And that came right off the top of my head. I just jotted those down as soon as I saw the question. Number 7 is a book character you would like as a friend. I had a couple for that too. I think my younger self would have been friends with Holden Caulfield from The Catcher in the Rye. He's always been my soulmate on some level. I've always identified with him. But more recently in my adult life, Lucy Barton from Elizabeth Strout's many books about that character. I think I would like to have Lucy Barton as a friend. Number 8 is a place you want to visit because of a book you've read. I would like to visit Ireland, and in fact, I am going to be visiting Ireland. We are planning a trip to Ireland, and that's both because of heritage, but also because of many, many, many books that I have read. So it's definitely Ireland. Number 9, a nonfiction book you would recommend. I had 3 right off the top of my head. One is Tracy Kidder's Rough Sleepers, which is a relatively new nonfiction book, and it's about a doctor in Boston taking care of homeless people. The second one was Caroline Knapp's memoir called Drinking, a Love Story. And the third was Gail Caldwell's memoir called Let's Take the Long Way Home, a memoir of friendship. And it's actually about her friendship with Caroline Knapp, who wrote Drinking, a Love Story. It's about their friendship and about Gail Caldwell's coping with the loss of Caroline Knapp. So both of those last two about Caroline Knapp and Gail Caldwell had a profound effect on my life when I lost one of my best friends. And number 10, if you could hang out with an author all day, who would you pick and why? 2 came to my mind right off the bat, 2 living authors. One is Alice McDermott. I love her work. I've watched her speak on many occasions, and I just love her. Everything she says resonates with me, and I think we have similar backgrounds, so maybe ethnic and religious backgrounds, and maybe that's where the connection is, but I love her mind. And I would also like to hang out with Louise Penny, the mystery writer. I love the world that she has created in her Inspector Gamache murder mysteries. But I just think she is the kindest soul. I don't know if she really is, but that's my impression of her, and I would love to hang out with her. And then I was thinking I would also like to hang out with the late, great poet Mary Oliver, one of my very favorite poets, and I'm going to talk about her at some point on a Poetry Thursday. I don't think she would hang out with me for a whole day, but maybe we could go for a walk, and I would love that. She inspires me on so many levels. So that's the tag. I thought this was really fun. I really like doing this, and these were my responses right off the top of my head. And now the last point is to tag some people. So I would like to tag. I'm going to tag a bunch of people. I would really love it if people would do this tag, and let's see if we can get some traction on it. So I'm going to tag Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics. I'm going to tag Debs at RaynorReadsStuff. I'm going to tag Farah at Bookstalgic. I'm going to tag MJ at Reading This Life. I'm going to tag James at Quaint and Curious Volumes. I'm going to tag Renee at Beyond Books. I'm tagging Sonia at An Enthusiastic Reader. I'm tagging Gavin at Genre Books. And I'm tagging Chris at Chris's Reading Corner. So I hope that some of you will do the tag. I hope all of you will do the tag, and I hope anybody watching this will also consider doing the tag. I think it's a lot of fun. Okay, so that's my Tag Tuesday. I hope that you're all doing well, and I will speak with you again soon. Take care.